Hey guys, I'm Matthew Pfeiffer with MattPfeifferCoaching.com. Thank you for tuning in to Toxic to Triumph. Today we're going to be talking about whether or not the narcissist is aware of what they're doing. This actually comes from a listener question that someone sent me an email about. I'm looking forward to having this conversation, and I will talk to you soon. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. A question came to me this week on if a narcissist is aware of what they're doing. And this is actually a two-part question because part of this has to do with the narcissist and the other part has to do with the person that's actually asking the question. Now, I actually want to start with the latter. The person that's asking the question is actually dealing with a level of cognitive dissonance, meaning that they believe two separate things, that this person is all good and that they are also all bad. And oftentimes, this is coming from someone who has a desire to give the narcissist the benefit of the doubt. Because oftentimes people feel as though if the narcissist is not doing this intentionally, that it somehow excuses their behavior. This is a very dangerous place to be in. I want to make it clear that there is never an excuse for someone to mistreat you, regardless. There's also never an excuse to put yourself in harm's way for the sake of love or for the sake of a relationship or for the sake of keeping someone around. And when I hear this question, it screams codependency to me. This is someone who is willing to sacrifice themselves, their own happiness, oftentimes their career, oftentimes their children, their family, for someone who would not reciprocate those same sacrifices for their relationship, just to simply keep that person around and in their life. So oftentimes the answer that I give is not the answer that this person wants to hear. And the answer is yes, they are not only aware, everything that they did was very, very intentional. And I want to bring some clarity to this, and I want to talk about this a little bit further in depth so you have a better understanding of why we know that this is not only intentional, but that they know and they are very aware of what they're doing. Number one, if they were not aware of what they're doing, there would be no reason to lie, and there would be no reason to manipulate. The only reason why you would lie or manipulate is you're trying to cover up something, number one, trying to cover up bad behavior that you know and that you are aware that you did something wrong. The only reason why to manipulate is to bring deceit and try to coerce someone to do something that you are aware that you want them to do. If you were somehow unaware, there would be no reason to lie, and there would be no reason for the manipulation, and there would be no reason for the initial stage of the idealization phase. Then, oftentimes when I'm meeting with someone who asks this question, I'll even give the person asking this question the benefit of the doubt. Let's pretend for 1 second that the narcissist or the person or the toxic person that we're talking about is making a mistake rather than a conscious decision. Now we have to break down the two meanings, mistake and decision. A mistake is something that someone will do unconsciously and on accident. A decision is something that someone does consciously, and they make a choice to make a decision. So let's pretend for 1 second that a narcissist makes not only a mistake, but makes a plethora of mistakes. The problem with a narcissist making a mistake is that they are unable to even admit that they're capable of mistakes. So now we're dealing with someone who has an inflated sense of self, who even in a situation that they make a mistake is unwilling to correct that mistake, which is then, again, a very conscious decision of what they've just done. So even in a situation that they've made a mistake, they're still going to justify their bad behavior because that inflated sense of self and that inflated ego will not allow for them to even admit that they've done wrong. Even in an accident, even in a situation where it was not done intentionally, they will not admit that mistake. Which then again means, guess what? They are aware. So then guess what? When we talk about things that are not a mistake, we're talking about things that are a decision. So anything else that does not fall under that mistake category would be an active, conscious choice that they've made. So regardless which angle you would like to take this, mistake or decision, mistake they're not willing to admit, decision they're making an active choice. So either way you look at this, they are aware. And with this inflated sense of self, and with their inability to make changes, and with their inability to admit that they've done wrong and admit that they've made mistakes, the behavior that you're experiencing not only will continue, but oftentimes will become worse. This is the reason why so many therapists and coaches oftentimes encourage no contact and tell people flat out that this is a no-win situation. And oftentimes, even in situations where they do admit to mistakes or admit to making a conscious decision, oftentimes you'll notice that there's no change in behavior. And the reason why is because when they were admitting the mistake and they were admitting the decision, and they were taking responsibility, so to speak, or the appearance of taking responsibility, there was no intention on ever changing the behavior. It was just doing just enough to keep you around, and because they felt like their grasp and their grip on you was starting to slip. So what you will see is that when they are making a mistake, or when they are admitting a mistake, and when they are taking responsibility for a decision, it's actually still, even then, just a form of manipulation. So between the two people, between the narcissist who is overly self-absorbed, the person who is asking the question is typically overly other-absorbed, meaning that they are overly absorbed with other people. If you found this episode to be helpful and you would like for me to answer a question on a future podcast, please go to my website, Matt Pfeiffer Coaching. Go to contact and send me an email. Make it 2 to 3 paragraphs max. Keep it very, very direct. If you would like for my help one-on-one, also go to my website, mattpfeiffercoaching.com. Go to the products tab, scroll down and choose whichever product you feel suits you best. A new podcast episode is uploaded every Monday through Friday, so I will talk to you guys soon.
big, keep your head to the sky. Spread your wings wide, show the world you can fly, baby. Show the world you can fly. Show the world you can fly, baby. Dream big, keep your head to the sky. Spread your wings wide, show the world you can fly, baby. Show the world you can fly, yeah. Show the world you can fly. Dream big, keep your head to the sky. Spread your wings wide, show the world you can fly, baby. Show the world you can fly. Show the world you can fly. Dream big, keep your head to the sky. Spread your wings wide, show the world you can fly, baby. Show the world you can fly, yeah. Show the world you can fly. Dream big, now they told me dream big. It's all we take with us is the things we did. Dream big, yeah. Just dream big, yeah. That's what my nana said. Dream big, Maury told me dream big. It's all we take with us is the things we did. Dream big, yeah. Just dream big, yeah. That's what my brother said. Dream big, now they told me dream big. Told me